The Mighty Whites podcast is recorded at the Medicine Room Studios. For more information, visit medicineroomstudios.com.
Hi and welcome to episode 16 of the Mighty Whites podcast. Not that much has happened since the last one, really, I suppose. Just a couple of little things.
Click is still gone.
Yeah, Click is still at Utrecht.
Hashtag Click News.
Got it in 17 seconds.
In other news, there's been a little bit of upheaval at the club. I think there's going to be a different guy in charge, apparently. But we'll burn through the games against Hull and Cardiff, not that we really want to talk about them, and then we'll come on to Christiansen after that. Hull 0, Leeds 0, shit game, weird wild man at match.
That sums it up really, doesn't it? Crap.
Yeah, I mean, this was the first time we've all gone to a beanbag in a long time.
Yeah.
But it was a dreadful game.
And to be honest, Fraser Campbell should have won it for Hull.
Yeah, they should have won it, really.
Yeah. They had the better chance, I'd say.
Not that they were good, but they were better than we were.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was the passing. Every single time they tried to play a ball, it was just ridiculous. At Vieira as well.
Especially in the first half, Vieira, it was just unreal.
I think I said the amount of times we connected 4 or 5 passes you could probably count on one hand.
Yeah.
We just couldn't get anything going in the midfield. Gave it away, just sloppy passes, just always 2-3 yards behind or in front of someone when it was just, we made it so easy for them to just pick up the ball and press on.
This is a team that, although they are down there as well, they have got some decent players there, some decent individual players, and the amount of time we afforded them, if they'd have been more confident, and we could have ended up getting beat 2 or 3-0 there. But it's just like you said, KC, just balls out wide, even just the amount of balls that went into touch, and just they were miles away. It was just, I don't know. I've not seen them play like that all season up to that point.
I know we've had a few players out, but that looked like a group of players who'd never played together before. There was no cohesion about the way they played anything. The amount of times, and especially for Vieira, who can pass, the amount of times he just didn't look and smashed it forward or smashed it out of play, it just got so frustrating.
There were one in particular. He got ball and he went to play it like kind of out wide, but he played it back to fullback, and it just went about 3-4 foot over his head when he jumped. I just thought, fair enough, like you said, if that group of players haven't been together before, fair enough. You can understand it being a little bit disjointed, but just some individual errors and passing, just technique-wise, it were just all over the shop. And again, we've said it in past, there were no plan B. It were just, what we set out to do was not working. We'll just carry on batting on at this.
Yeah. Well, you know that your performance is poor when you have no shots on target whatsoever.
Yeah.
Best effort we had with that Lasogga one from outside at box.
I was going to say, it's not the first time we've been there and had no shots on target either.
No. I suppose the main news out of this game was Shaughnessy getting injured.
2 minutes in.
When we already didn't have any, we were already low on defenders, and he gets injured. And that looked a bad one.
Nasty, didn't it?
That could be a season job, I reckon. I haven't seen no confirming it yet, but I'd be surprised if it's any less than a few months.
It was just how it jarred. It wasn't as bad as Zlatan's, but it was along them lines, wasn't it? Just how it wasn't nice.
Well, for the sake of continuity going into the podcast, I'll say it'll be interesting to see what Christian says about Shaughnessy's injury going forward. No, he is fine. He's free to play. He just won't be involved.
Can we not still have him there just to do interviews? Because he's got a lovely voice.
It's just soothing.
Yeah, but the only good thing I can take out of this is that you both had a win and I had a 2-2 draw, so I get 2 points for getting a draw, which is the first one any of us have got anything from in a while.
Yeah.
Every cloud and all that.
And then, now, don't get me wrong, the whole game was shit, but it was, like, you got something from it. This, I can't believe how bad we were. The first half of this game was probably worse than the first half against Millwall, actually. Leeds 1, Cardiff 4. Our goal and own goal from Sol Bamba. We were just abysmal. I mean, obviously, I was fucking furious at Berardi.
Oh.
If you booked, you don't dive into a tackle like that in a needless situation. It was stupid. But truth is, by that point, we were already 2-0 down and getting battered anyway.
Oh, yeah. I don't think Berardi being on the pitch would have...
We'd have still got hammered.
Difference. Yeah. The thing, more than all, when Bamba scored his own goal and you got it back to 3-1, you know, you're at home in front of a decent crowd. That should have been maybe a catalyst to give it a go even. You know, fair enough, down to 10 men, but give it a go.
We gave it a go against Millwall.
Yeah, you know, and look what happened there. But they seem to have got that goal and they just... Well, it got worse.
Yeah. Right, basically... that's 4 red cards in 5 games. Berardi gone, and Jansen's injured, did his ankle. Only thing of note was Lasogga missed a sitter at 1-0 that he should have scored, and Alioski should have scored the rebound as well.
How are we going to come on to this with Alioski?
He's well out of form.
He has been for a while.
He wants dropping. I like Alioski, but he wants dropping. He's playing terribly.
And on the wings, it's not like we haven't got options.
No, Stuart Dallas should be walking into this team, although he probably might well have to play at the back in the next game.
Yeah,
but we'll come on to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just going to burn through that. You didn't actually see much at Cardiff game, did you?
Honestly, I've seen the jumping knee to Stuart Dallas. That's it.
Oh, Marco Grujic thing.
Yeah, because I saw what was put on Twitter. I texted you about it and then spoke to you about it the other day. And honestly, I just went, I'm not going to watch this.
No, I mean, it wasn't the reason for us losing, but it is fair to point out the ref was fucking awful in this game.
Oh, yeah, some of the decisions were just...
It was like 2 separate sets of rules for the 2 teams. But we'd have got beat no matter what.
There were one, I think it was Anthony Pilkington. And if my memory serves me right, I think it was Vieira that he did it to. It just went straight through him, kicked him in the air. And... everyone around was one of them where you jump, referee, come on, but you kind of do it, kind of half expecting there was just nothing, and you think, well, hang on a minute.
You just stood there going, ref.
Yeah, well,
no, ref.
Ref, it was a foul. Yeah. Yeah. But I think even Pilkington, when he got up, even he looked as if to say, got away with one there, boys. Just, you know, and that's how bad it was. It was just, and that was from start to finish, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was really poor. Right, I had us winning, you two had us drawing, no one gets out. But we'll stay in this game because this game is the start of the TC stuff, really. So, you were saying how that goal could have been a catalyst when we went 3-1 up.
Yep.
The time when...
Down, 3-1 down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Optimism.
Yeah. So, I just
There's an ember of optimism remaining.
You have 3 goals, we have 1 goal. Give us your goals.
Neil Warnock been working as a banker, has But no, once that goal went in, you thought, well, maybe they'll get up and have a go. The beginning of the end for TC on that day was when he took Lasogga off.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah.
And which Sacco that he brought on for Lasogga.
Yeah, he brought Sacco on, yeah.
And went none up front at 3-1 down.
Yeah.
I mean, he did push Roof up, but Roof kept having to drop off anyway. And Roof, by the way, how did he stay on? He stayed on the pitch, I've no idea. He was having an absolute shocker.
I don't think, it wasn't doing all... I don't think... It's hard to say, but it wasn't his fault. I don't think it were all... I think you get what I'm getting at. It was just one of them. He'll have walked off that pitch and gone into that dressing room and gone, fuck knows what would happen in there, boys. Sorry there. He didn't do all that stood out.
Like his first touch just wasn't there. Everything went there. But that sub... I mean, TC's had plenty of criticism on Twitter, and you hear little murmurs and like, oh God, I think that's wrong decision. But this was the first time the crowd have fully turned on, just fully turned on him. You know, it's a while since I've heard "you don't know what you're doing" directed at as manager and boos for substitutions.
And actually, it was around the time Neil Warnock was last here.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Hockaday was around long enough to get those chants.
No, he just got the sack in the morning.
It was just straight to the sacks in the morning.
He just never played Billy Sharp.
But yeah, even after that, I was thinking I wouldn't sack him yet.
I think it's harsh on him. I know we'll come to it.
We'll come to it properly, but actually, Casey, seeing as you do a near impression of him, if you could read that quote I've written down, because it was as soon as I saw the quote from after the game, I went, oh, he's done. Sack him, because he don't want to be here anymore.
He is checked out.
He don't want to be here anymore.
I do my best, and I want the best for Leeds. If it's the club's decision that they want to find someone better, I cannot do anything about that. I would then go away, but with my head high.
You hear that in a press conference.
Can I just say, yeah, this is the first time I'm just hearing that out loud, and it's when you're using the words "find someone better," indicating there is someone better than you for this job. If you'd have said someone else, you can go, oh, fair enough. Don't say someone better.
No, the second he said that after the game, I went from, oh, I think it's too soon to sack the manager, to, oh, fair enough, he thinks he's done. And the second the manager thinks he's done, it's over.
They've got to go, yeah. If you're walking it, that, I mean, a lot of players will have all seen and heard that. How can you walk in and command the dressing room?
Well, I mean, clearly he couldn't before that.
No. But, you know, even if he were to stay on, how could he walk into a dressing room and command it? Having said that, it's not going to happen.
There was a lot of people even before that. I put at half-time, I managed to get Twitter to work for 4 seconds at half-time in the ground.
A modicum of data.
Did well, though.
And I managed to put that out, and at the end of the game I saw lots of things, and it was all going, look, I know it's... There was someone who phrased it well, said, I know it's a cliche, but I have seen a team where a manager's lost the dressing room, and that's exactly what I'm looking at right now. And I thought, yeah, I can't really argue with that.
I mean, now it's happened. I know it's easy to say, now it's happened and he's gone, but you look at the team from the start of the season, that first 2 months of that season, to now, it's just nosedived, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And
well, the thing is, we've gone through... You can break the season down into 4 stages of the undefeated period, then the unwinning period.
The first shit spell.
And then we went on a decent run again.
Yep.
And now we've gone on a bad run again.
Yep.
I checked today, in the league, we'd won 13 and lost 12, I believe, and drawn 5.
I'd say it's got like a 40% win rate, to be fair.
It's very strange. You very rarely see a season go like that, where you can identify 4 periods in that way. But
yeah, especially at this stage of the season where we're just over halfway.
Yeah,
you know,
it was just very odd to see how it's happened, and you do kind of look and just think, well, you know, we've got some key players to come back, and if they come back, then you give us a chance. But clearly, some things happen where the discipline's gone. I mean, you just think now, when you see the run of red cards that we had, and then you start thinking, well, Eunan O'Kane before that had never had a red card before.
No.
It's just things like that's when you start to think, you know, it does start to look like he has lost the dressing room.
Yeah, but there's something up. Just incidentally, Julio Banuelos, Paul Butler, and even Torres have all gone as well. So his main coaching staff. Cabrera's still there in the under-23s. Yeah. He'll come up again in a bit.
Yeah,
that does also tell you, I think, that they have someone lined up.
Oh well,
which again we will probably come to.
We will come on to quite soon. But I suppose, like, what are your overall thoughts on, one, the time he's been here, but two, just on Christiansen himself?
I think I do think he's a decent bloke. I think his ideas.
Let me correct you. Idea.
Well, yeah.
He only has one.
But
it's only 4-2-3-1. That's one of his main problems.
The way he presented himself and where he got job, you couldn't really argue it. Comes across as a decent guy, but I just think for him to come into a club where the pressure's on like it is at Leeds, is not the man.
Do you think in the end it's been a bit too big for him?
Yeah.
I feel sorry for him, because the remit of you're not expected to get promoted, but you are expected to get in the top 6 is an odd one.
Yeah.
In as much as now we've been there with Leeds getting to a playoff final, losing, and then getting relegated the next season. I would argue that getting in the playoffs when you're not ready to go up could be a very bad thing.
Yeah.
You know, for me, the measuring stick this season was, listen, if we are there or thereabouts, happy days. I was under no illusion. I don't care what Radrizzani said at the start of the season, that anything outside the top 6 is a failure. You look at that squad, I think it is weaker than it was last season. That's not down to Christiansen.
It's a thing that I was going to bring up, but I may as well do it now to come on to it. I was going to come on to it. one of the reasons is that Radrizzani and Angus Kinnear have both consistently in interviews for the past month said, we think this squad is good enough to get in the top 6. So that's the measuring stick he's been put against. But when I look at that squad, I think if there is no injuries all season, maybe. But that doesn't happen. Right now, I look at that squad and I don't think it's good enough to get in the top 6.
That squad, if you throw in a Kyle Bartley and a Chris Wood, all of a sudden looks like a top 6 squad.
Well, you look at the players that I think, as good as Liam Cooper has been this season, one, he's not been as good as Kyle Bartley is.
No.
And two, it says a lot that Kyle Bartley left and the best we could do was to replace him with someone who couldn't get in the team ahead of him.
Yeah.
Chris Wood went and we have not replaced him. Charlie Taylor's gone, and as much as I love Gaetano Berardi, he's not as good.
Yeah.
No.
And it's too soon to tell with DeBock.
Yeah, DeBock might settle in, but we did then go half a season without a proper left back.
And this is where, again, you can say what you will about Vernon and Anita, but to sign for a new club and be put at left back when really you're a midfielder.
And by the end, to not even be getting a shot.
Yeah.
Fair.
It's
when we ain't got any defenders.
I think that's, he hasn't been great, Anita, but I think that's a bit harsh. I just think some of the way, some of the ways that Christiansen dealt with certain players, like Click, we've signed a player there, Polish international, come from a decent, half decent league, scored goals, just couldn't get a look in, and you're thinking, well, hang on a minute, we're in a bad run of form here. Give him a go. It can't be any worse than what we've got.
I think, and this is what we said before with the signing of Forshaw, though. Like you look at the midfield three of Vieira, Phillips, and O'Kane. Forshaw, I honestly haven't seen a whole lot of him, so I couldn't say. But clearly wasn't better than them, or at least in TC's mind.
No.
And there was nothing I saw of him to prove otherwise.
No. To be fair to Forshaw, it was his best outfield play against Hull, and he was his man at match against Cardiff.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's just like I'm just.
We were shy against Cardiff, but he was the one player that I think he was the only player that got 7.
He were like with Hull game. He pinged some nice balls around. Like he tried,
But I'm just saying because I think it's a difficult thing as well when we kind of brought in the whole. Basically, everyone came in the summer, lock, stock, and barrel. With the director of football coming in and new manager, new coaching staff. But I think we could have all looked at that midfield three and gone, the central midfield area, okay, we could probably do with one more backup.
Yeah.
But that is not the area of the team we need to strengthen. But we have like 6 centre midfielders on the books now.
You see, I dare say, again, it sounds like we're all having a pop at Adam Forshaw here, not at all, but if you're going to go out and spend, is it 4.5 million?
It was 3.5 up front, and there's a couple of other things.
So let's say 4 million.
Yeah.
If it's going to end up costing that, I'm sure I speak for us all here, where I'd say I'd sooner throw on maybe an extra 1.5 million and go sign Jack Marriott.
Yeah.
Than sign Adam Forshaw.
Centre midfield was not the problem.
No. You've got.
It is at the minute because we've got a load of injuries, but in general,
yeah.
If he wanted to stick with M3, Romario Vieira's getting on bench now. I'm not saying him, but bring a young one on and have him as backup. It's absolutely not an issue.
So in theory, I would agree, but however, I do actually think Forshaw's his best midfielder now, and I think he'll be a really good signing.
Yeah, it will be a good signing. I just think it could have been spent on a striker though.
Yeah. If you look at the squad we had on the opening day of the season, none of us were looking at the team and going, you know what, we really need another centre mid. That wasn't, Adam Forshaw was not the droid we were looking for. We still now need a striker coming out of January. And yes, I fully understand that there is a premium on goal scoring strikers at this time of year, but if you want us to press for that, then I do agree. And I've defended Radrizzani and defended the board, and they want to look for value for money, which is fine, but you are still going to have to spend some money if you want a goal scoring striker that's going to push you up the league a bit at this stage of the season.
Obviously there is Roberts. We'll come on to him later, but we don't know how that. It's too soon to tell how that's going to go. He's still a 19-year-old kid.
The thing that annoyed me, I know KC's going on about strikers. Lewis Grabban, again, going out on loan to Aston Villa. You just think, well, if we're serious in what we're saying, if Radrizzani is serious saying that nothing other than top six will do, that's the sort of player we need to be looking at. In this league, to me, that's the sort of calibre of striker we need.
And because it was only a loan, it's only a short-term gamble.
Yeah.
No, well, that brings us on to the next thing. Obviously, Christiansen's been sacked. I feel a little bit sorry for him, but I do think it's probably the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But the key is basically, does it fall on TC or does it fall on Orta?
For me, it falls on Orta.
Yeah, unfortunately, if you are going to use a director of football model to run things and you take the transfer responsibilities away from the manager, then unfortunately that then lends itself to you have failed with the players you've brought in. And again, as you say, Anita and Click came in at the start of the season. They were two of the first signings.
I think they were, yeah.
And neither one of them got a look in. At this point, I reckon I'd get in midfield before those two. And yes, you could look at TC and say, maybe he doesn't use his squad enough, but he's the one working with them every day. I don't know how often Victor Orta is there hiding in a tree watching them, or if he just sits in a deck chair and stares at them.
What do you think he might be pulling a Gwyn Williams? Side toilets.
But, every director of football is different, but I don't know how much Victor Orta is watching the team.
You see, for me, he were quick enough to be taking all the players at the start of the season.
Yeah. He does put himself front and centre, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Got Saiz in and Alioski.
And when they were playing well, start of the season, he were there and he were always in, at forefront of it all. Now he seems to have disappeared, and it sounds like I'm jumping on bandwagon with him, but you can only blame Christiansen for so much. Tactically, fair enough, he were a bit inept, but
I will say
not
as
his
well,
players.
One of the things, because, and again, I stood up for Christiansen a lot here. There was a lot of talk about changing systems and stuff like that, and I don't want to go all Lee Clark here. I looked at the squad we had and the players that he was going to use, and for me, three at the back, I couldn't see it working with the players, especially.
You see, I couldn't disagree with you any more on that.
I don't know. I didn't want Berardi anywhere near a back three. I don't think he's...
Well, when everyone's fit, he wouldn't have been in. Because the problem is, when I looked at... the thing I'm on back, because you'll remember I wrote that article months ago, and I put Leeds in alt formations, and the one that came out best for me was like a 5-2-2-1.
So would you have had that in your back
but
three?
But the thing is, that was when everyone were fit, so you'd have had Ayling at right wing back, you'd now have De Bock or maybe even Dallas as a left wing back. But in middle, at that point, it was like, oh, well, you could have Cooper, Jansen and Pennington. And at that point, now you couldn't play it because we haven't got the bodies.
No.
But over the season, I just like the balance it gives you. And if you play it with not wide players as the two behind the striker, it's the only way you can get Hernandez and Saiz in the team.
Yeah, I'm not a big lover of a three at the back at the best of times, and I would rather have seen us maybe take out the number 10 and
while Saiz is suspended, I'd have been fine.
Especially while Saiz is out, and then you can put a low, well, we're tied. Vernon Anita might get a game as a holding midfielder. Something he vaguely knows how to do.
Oh, so this is a bloke who's played that position for Holland, and in the Premier League, and in 2 promotion campaigns from Championship. He's been there and done it. This is what I can't. I'm not saying he should walk into that team, Anita, but this. With getting back to Christiansen and how he used players, you don't know how much input Orta would have in with team selection.
That's been a theory going round a bit, hasn't it?
You just don't know, do you, behind the scenes? To me, this is why. I mean, it seems to work for clubs abroad, but I'm just not a fan of it. If you're going to have someone there, to me, a manager, as overall say, transfers, sales, training, squad selection, it comes down to him. Never mind.
If you're going to die by the sword, you should be allowed to live by it as well.
Well, this is the thing. Like I remember reading, depending on where you are in the world, it's either Why England Lose or Soccernomics. There is a piece in there about the director of football model at Lyon, and the whole idea there was that you have a director of football to keep continuity, so that when managers typically left for bigger jobs, as even though they were the best team in France, obviously, you could go to Spain, Italy, Germany or England at that point, that you have a level of continuity, so that everything kind of continues in the same vein. When you hire a new head coach, then this is the system you play, this is the style of football, this is your remit. And I fully understand that. But that is dependent on you being successful at the time.
Yeah, it only works
if you aren't successful, then clearly the person doing the recruiting is failing, not the head coach.
Oh, yeah.
And you look at how we were under Chileno, it wasn't so much the managers failing outside of maybe Hockaday. They were let down by recruitment policies.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, for the whole, Orta's done well in who has bought him.
Certain, especially
Alioski size, you can't argue.
Yeah, it's not just for players as well. Orta's had a lot of involvement with a lot of it off the field restructuring, which appears to have worked.
Another thing that's got me with it, and again, this comes down to Orta as well. I'm all for spending money and getting young talent in, but we see. I mean, how much have we spent on under 23s players?
That model is...
We have spent a lot, but it's filling a hole that's been caused by 4 years of neglect.
I know, but
the problem is, though, with that model, again, I'm fine. If you want to say, we want to run this club as efficiently as we can, therefore we're going to look at younger players, bring them in, develop them, and hope they move into the first team, that's fine. But you can't sign that amount of players for the under 23s, which is going to take some money away from the first team budget.
Yep.
And still say your aim is the playoffs, while none of those signings, as of yet, are moving on into the first team.
Yeah, it does seem like a lot of this could... If they'd have just said after 3 months, look, we've realised there's a bit more behind-the-scenes work we need to do. So this season, we would love to get in the playoffs, but if we don't, we don't.
It's a gimme this year.
At this stage as well, what I don't know what difference it would make between sacking TC... now or keeping him till the end of the season. Because you look, whoever's coming in now still has to deal with Luke Ayling's unavailable, Liam Cooper's out, Saiz is out. We just have this gaping hole in the team at the moment.
It's not. It's like you say. It's the timing of it as well.
Straight after the transfer window closes.
Ken Bates special.
So we've got a habit of doing this.
I was going to say at least it wasn't the day after.
But it's. I don't know. The old director of football thing for me doesn't sit well with me.
Naturally sit well with me either. I always like to think of a manager as a manager.
And this is it with Christiansen. But there's a lot of people slagging him off, and like you say, tactically wise, he wasn't up to it. He didn't have a plan B, but
his subs were terrible.
Yeah, they were awful. But they want his players. Yeah, I dare say he will have had some input, but
again, I guess the remit of the head coach then is,
here's your players, train them.
All right, this is the system we're going to play. I think we need a better left winger. I think we need a better right back than we already have. Outside of that, they will probably be given a short list of 3 or 4 players and will give a recommendation, but it is not that person who signs them. No. Jesus Christ, can you imagine Harry Redknapp working with the director of football?
No. Because he'd turn the job down.
Which is good, because it probably means he's not signing for us.
You should get David O'Leary in as director of football. He's great at signing players.
Under 23s manager.
Yeah. He's already got links to Qatar.
Yeah, get him in.
No, we've just mentioned O'Leary. I guess that brings us on to the next thing. Obviously, there's been a load of names bandied about. We'll come on to the one who looks like he's going to get it last, because it makes no sense. But who do you want?
I want Grayson.
Who do you want not sentimentally? Grayson's still a legitimate shout. I just don't think it's the best idea.
I don't think... I think it is. I genuinely do. When you think about Grayson...
I'll just say now, by the way, I'll tell you where he's off.
Go on.
Bradford sacked Stuart McCall. He's off to.
One.
He's off to.
Tell you what,
Grayson, Bradford should get Grayson.
I'll tell you now. For me, with Grayson, as far as we're concerned, everyone knows what Bates did to him. He got us very, very close, and he had all his players sold, got given Brownie and Pugh,
and got sacked when we were just outside the playoffs.
we were eighth. We were eighth.
Seventh, I believe.
Seventh.
Well, I think we actually dropped down because of the 4-1 defeat to Birmingham that got him sacked. I think we were 7th going into that game.
The Nicola Zigic aberration, as it were.
But for me, he's always done a decent. I mean, Sunderland, I don't care who's walking in that club, they're fucked. But
two of us said at the start of the season.
Yeah, like him there. But
they're going up as fucking champions.
Maybe next year from League One. But yeah, for me, he's always done a decent job wherever he's gone. I'd have Grayson.
Honestly, I believe we did this at the start of the season before the hiring of TC. I think it was like the second or third episode we did. Like, we looked at some of the managers, and you're just like, there's not many that I particularly look at, and it surprises me who we've been linked with, considering, again, talk about the director of football role. It's a very continental model. So I'm surprised that we are actually looking at some British managers. Off the top of my head, there's not really anyone I could actually think of to come in that I would be massively happy about.
I'll tell you, there's two people who I know, and I laughed when they said it. Mark Hughes. I says, no. I says, for the kick-off, we can't afford to pay Mark Hughes. The wage he will command's just ridiculous. I says, I don't think he'd drop down to Championship. And just, no.
No.
There isn't really anyone that jumps out at you.
No. It's, when you start looking down the list, and it's always the same names that crop up. And I know he's further down the pecking order, but you're looking at Zola, no. Harry Redknapp, no thank you. Oh dear God, no thank you.
What about in the director's box, Steve McLaren?
Jesus God, no. Good God, no.
Luckily, it sounds like he was there because I think him or his family are Leeds fans.
He's from York, isn't he?
Also, Paul Butler, who of course is now gone, with apparently him and McLaren are mates, and that's why he was there. He was there as a guest of him. He's been there 3 or 4 times this season, apparently.
Honestly, I don't particularly want McLaren, but at the same time,
I would. There's I think 150 that I would have over Steve McLaren.
I think the sad thing is,
I genuinely offer our free services for free before we got Steve McLaren. Seriously, I just know.
Ever since he had that Derby team that should have walked league, and he took them from first to like 10th in 2 months, and then got a Premier League job out of it.
Yeah,
and then went back to Derby
and got them relegated.
Yeah. Then somehow, then somehow got back to Derby.
Because I think the thing is that there is something to Steve McLaren. I don't know if that is as an assistant manager or as a first team coach.
You're saying he's Todd Grip?
No. But yeah, he's not the inspirational figure I would want to see. But again,
are we all agreed that Strachan is a no-go?
Oh, Strachan's... Look, I love Gordon Strachan.
Yeah.
But he's not a good football manager.
Can you imagine him dealing with the director of football?
He's been properly successful one place.
Yeah, but I'd be successful.
And that was at Celtic. And he was still less successful than the people that went before and after him.
Oh, yeah.
Except John Barnes.
Yeah.
Okay, immediately before and after him. I mean, Strachan was the one that got knocked out in second qualifying round, like 5-1, didn't they?
Oh, what did they call the team?
I can't remember. It was someone really...
Yeah, really bad. I mean, even for Scottish teams,
like the Maribors of the world.
I think it's even worse.
Lower.
Oh, God.
I mean, don't get me wrong. When you see Aberdeen getting knocked out at Europa League by some Latvian team, fair enough. But this was worse.
No wonder Scotland can't find a manager.
Tells you everything with Northern Ireland manager turns you down.
Yeah.
But I don't...
Speaking at Northern Ireland manager,
no,
it wouldn't work. But I wouldn't have been that pissed off if we'd have got Michael O'Neill.
No. What's he done club level?
Oh, nothing. I just quite like the guy.
Tell you who I would have. Martin O'Neill. I'd still have Martin O'Neill. But again, he's got a far too cushy number. The Republic of Ireland, he's not leaving that anytime soon.
Again, for me, like I honestly think if we want to show some intent, and I think our first choice our first choice, or the club's first choice, is ticking that box. Is I want to see someone young coming in.
Yeah, we said the same when we got Christiansen. I do like him to be young, if possible.
Well, you see, what I'm going to throw out there, if he doesn't, he's probably not going to say his total opposite. But come on.
No, there is no name attached to that. Just I want someone young and promising. That's
purely because he knows the league inside out and he's doing he always does a solid job wherever he is. Mick McCarthy.
I think we'd all like to see Mick McCarthy as manager in a way.
I'm amazed it never happened, but I don't think now's the time.
Again, another one having to deal with people.
What about Marco Silva?
Sorry, at Media Bratislava.
There we go.
That Media Bratislava.
That's who put 5 past Celtic.
I should really have known that. No, I shouldn't have been the second team.
The Marco Silva thing, I'm sure we would love Marco Silva. I definitely would. He's one of the most promising coaches in world football. Yeah. He is not dropping to the Championship.
No. I probably think that when another Premier League job comes up, I think he'd be up there.
Even though it went wrong at the end of Watford because of all that Everton stuff.
He's a good manager.
Every single player that works with him talks about how amazing he is.
I know they went down, but he did do a very good job with that whole team.
Well, he made
that season that was doomed.
He made them competitive, which is the best you could do.
That and he made Umani as a footballer again. But I tell you, if they want to work along the line of director of football, first team coach, Paul Clement.
Is he still out?
Yeah,
he's still out of a job, isn't
he? Yeah.
I'll tell you
the
what,
reason I say that is because of the coach.
No, he would suit that model. He's worked in that before.
Is it Paul Clement that was at Real Madrid for a time?
Yeah, he was
Chelsea, Real Madrid.
Ancelotti's assistant.
He was at PSG.
Real, he was at PSG, and he was at Bayern as well.
Yeah, he left PSG to take the Swansea job, didn't he? Works with Claude Makelele.
Isn't Claude Makelele in charge at Eupen now or something?
Something daft like that.
In charge of big tackles.
Sponsored by Claude Makelele.
Well, obviously, there's loads of. Obviously, we've just gone through a fair few. The top 2 in the betting, we'll talk about the one that doesn't look like he's going to get it first, and then the one that does look like he's going to get it after. And of the 2, I wanted the one who doesn't look like he's going to get it. Hans Wolf.
Done a good job at Stuttgart.
You watch more German football than me. I have also been on Twitter asking people who watch lots of German football.
Stuttgart.
Including John McKenzie, whose opinion I quite trust. He seems to know his stuff.
Take it, Stuttgart, for me, they got relegated 2 years ago. Last season, absolutely walked Bundesliga 2.
And it had some decent teams in it that year as well.
Yeah, it had some really good teams.
Hanover were still there, weren't they?
Hanover are still down there. St. Pauli are still there. There's Kaiserslautern that are still knocking about. There's some decent teams in there, and they absolutely walked it. And they've not been doing bad, to be fair, back in Bundesliga. They're doing as you'd expect them to do. They're not...
Like bottom half, but...
Bottom half. I could be wrong, but I think they're like 13th, 14th. It's fair enough for your first year back up, but they play good football.
But
they really do.
The main thing I saw with him was that the Stuttgart fans were very much not pleased when he got sacked.
No, I think it's the style of football that they're playing. I've seen them 2 or 3 times so far this season, but obviously I've seen the results. Like you say, I keep an eye on German football. But just the way he plays and everything, and I wouldn't have minded seeing him go that route. I mean, we know it's worked for Huddersfield, but my worry is, could it end up like Daniel Farke?
It could.
It's a chance you're taking. No matter who you're getting, but the whole idea of it all, someone that's come through the system in Germany, got their philosophies.
And I've checked the whole time he was at Stuttgart, he was working under a director of football.
Well, he was at Dortmund an awful bit. He has worked with Klopp and Wagner.
Yeah, he was. I saw some interviews with Klopp where it was him where he's been asked about him and Wagner, and he's been saying the whole time, if there was 3 of us.
Yeah,
he kept mentioning Wolf was really important as well. Yeah. And apparently he's quite willing to change his formations about. He's a forward at the back guy, but they had 3 good centre backs, so he was playing like a 3-5-2, 3-4-3. switching it up depending on who was playing, seemed to be quite well planned out. Used to working under a director of football. Everyone seems to like him, which there's a lot to be said for. If everyone thinks he comes across well, then you must be doing something right. Because if you get sacked by a club and everyone still likes you, you must have done something right. Like Grayson at Leeds.
Yeah.
He got sacked, but everyone still likes him. So he must have done something right.
Yeah.
Well, but yeah, every single thing I read about him, the way he tries to play football, the way he worked his way up at Dortmund, won league when he was in charge of second team.
Yep.
Getting Stuttgart promoted from a tough second tier. Everything I read about him, I thought. Because I'll be honest, I'd heard his name before, but I knew nothing about him. And the more I read, the more I thought, fucking hell, this sounds like he could be a good idea.
It wasn't only that and all. I mean, I don't know what sort of structure they have in place at Stuttgart, but when they went down, they practically sold everyone.
Well, when they went down, they'll have had... That's when we had Timo Werner and...
Timo Werner was still...
Didavi and...
Ginczek.
Yeah.
They lost Timo Horn.
Yeah.
He went... they had some really good players and he built that team again from scratch. So... shows that he can, he's capable of doing that as well.
Well, he was second favourite for the Leeds job. I haven't looked at the odds. It'll now be 20 on. The person will come on to in a minute. But just say he was also second for the Bradford job. Was Hannes Wolf. And they've got German owners.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a friend of the podcast, Mark Young, German owners who are from Stuttgart. So... and German owners who are mates with Wagner.
Who's in Yorkshire.
Yeah, who's in Yorkshire.
Stars are aligning,
and he's mates with... So I wanted us to get him. But if we're not getting him, he could well rock up at Bradford. But now on to the main event.
We'll
the man who hates Leeds United. And I'm sure... I mean, his actual quotes were that, he didn't... he hated Leeds growing up in Barnsley.
He always said it was...
Which he would.
When we played on the streets, it was always Leeds versus Barnsley.
But he did also say that, Leeds is a massive club and he's got respect for he's... And to be honest...
Is he in Holloway?
Yeah. Warnock said stuff like that and we hired him as well.
For the manager.
God. But yeah. Mr. Heckingbottom.
Underwhelmed?
Yeah. I think that's the word I use as well.
Yeah, he's got a shit budget at Barnsley and they've sold all his best players. If you take the season as a whole, he's doing perfectly fine there. But they've won one of their last 16 games.
To me, if they've got rid of...
He's in better form there now.
If they're going to get rid of Christiansen and say that, that squad is capable of a top 6 finish and results aren't being good enough and, is everything about him, it's just not what they want.
What are we now? We're 10th now?
We're 10th. We're 7 points off at playoffs. Right. What makes them look at Heckingbottom and think,
that's the man.
Basically
he's
means,
the one to take us on to the next level. I don't see
what it is. They've made a rod for their own back now. If they hire Heckingbottom and go, right, we're 10th, we know that you might not get in the playoffs from the position we're in. But if we finish 12th now, what are we going to do at the end of the season? Sack him too?
Yeah. Because if not, it's like you say, if not, they are going to get asked the question, well, hang on a minute.
Has he done any better?
Yeah, when Christiansen left.
And I think he's unfortunate because, like I said, and for any manager that comes in now, you're walking into a shit situation where we've got 2 right backs are out.
Centre back situation ain't great.
We're down to Matthew Pennington, who could well be injured.
Yeah.
He's not had a run of games, so he's not going to be fully fit. No. We're missing our number 10. So either way, it's going to be a struggle.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we'll come more on to our current squad situation of the centre-backs when we preview Sheffield United game. Obviously, normally, because the transfer window's finished, we're going to go back to one every 2 weeks, but because all of this has happened, we're going to do another one next week, because we'll have a new manager and still a lot to talk about. So, obviously, we're not the... I was going to say, obviously we're not the sort that are going to be like, no, fucking, I'm not going anymore if I do this. I mean, KC won't go again this season.
I'm not going again. Fuck it, I'm leaving the country.
Because he's off to Portland on Saturday. But, like, there's a couple of things I need to say. First of all, this is his first one since the transfer window finished. We've ended up with a load of injuries. Like, what would you give the transfer market out? What would you give our January out of 10?
2. Genuinely.
You say I'm much higher than that.
No.
Yeah,
I'm really not. I'll let you say, but I'll explain.
I think we needed a striker, a left back, a centre mid, and a centre half, and we got all but a centre half.
I can see. I'm going to come in somewhere in between the two of you because I fully agree that the players, the quality of players that we needed, I don't think we have signed that.
Nope.
But at the same time, the positions that needed addressing, we have addressed in some manner.
I wouldn't be low like 2. I'd be like 5.
I think that's probably where I am. And again, this comes back to the club's policy. Signing someone like Tyler Roberts, great. If you want to go after young players and you want to say, by the end of our third season of this 3-year plan, he will be our first choice striker.
And will be a Premier League quality player.
That's fine. But you have got to say, he doesn't, especially at that age, he will need a bedding in period where he's not going to walk into this team and he's not going to get his 10, 15 goals between now and the end of the season. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see it happening.
The reason I'd say so low as 2 is because, Forshaw, decent signing. Roberts, as we've just said, hopefully turns into a decent player. Who was it?
De Bock.
Yep. Again, looks solid enough. But for me, we've got a striker, but if Radrizzani's saying that it's top 6 or no, I just think the couple of million that was spent on Roberts could have been spent better. Yeah.
I do agree. If it's top 6 or nothing, they did. I do agree that they didn't go nearly hard enough.
De Bock, I get decent signing, looks solid enough in the early stages.
Yeah, we'll see.
We're in, Forshaw, don't get me wrong, as we've said, happy he's here. I just think that the £4 million roughly that we've spent on him, plus the 2.5 million on him.
You'd rather see that 6 and a bit million, yeah.
Thrown at a striker, because to me, if we're going to do this and say, we needed depth in midfield, keep Click. And we had the depth there, but we had the numbers there. We were lacking up front. And it's that just, I'm not having a go at Roberts, and Roberts is a good player, but I just think when you see, like, say, Lewis Graben going to Villa on loan and we're ending up with what, we've bought potential, but they're, which I'm fine with, but if they're turning around saying they want it here and they want it now, top 6 this season, is a 19-year-old kid who's played very little first-team football going to do that?
January hasn't acted like they're planning on top 6 this season.
This is why I say it, and I rate it as low as I do, because what they've done just don't sink in with what they've...
Doesn't match with...
What they've said.
With what they've said. It just contradicts it all.
Yeah, you got to kind of think... You look at where we are now going to be at the end of the season. All right, I'm not writing this season off completely yet. I think we can still gain something from this season. We're going to get to the end of the season. We will have had a striker who will have got, maybe 15, 16 goals by the end of it.
If Lasogga finishes well, then that's possible. I think it's more likely it'll be about 12.
Yeah. But he then goes, that's... What was it we were paying him? 20 grand a week?
Apparently we were only paying him about 15, which out of 50. There is one thing with that deal. Even if it doesn't work out, on paper it was a really good deal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know you kind of have to take this gamble with every transfer, but that's then 15 grand a week we've spent on someone who, to be honest, by the time the January transfer window rolled around, we all kind of looked at and went, he's not going to be staying, he's not doing the business. And I don't know if we had the option to send him back or not. I'm guessing not.
I would have thought not.
But,
and to be honest, who else?
If we did, we'd be knackered.
If we'd have got rid of Lasogga, Connie's saying we needed to sign an out-and-out centre forward. If we got rid of Lasogga, then we needed to sign 2 out-and-out centre forwards.
Yeah,
and we definitely weren't going to be able to do that.
But unfortunately, we're then putting us. We're going to be in a position at the end of the season where Lasogga is not the answer, and we still need to find a centre forward. And unfortunately, we're looking at a load of money that we spent on him to not be the answer.
I wouldn't describe the amount we've spent on Lasogga as a load of money in the Championship.
This is what I was just going to touch upon then with you.
Lasogga would be the 10th highest paid player at several Championship clubs.
This is the thing I'm going to come on to now.
He's probably on less money than Vernon Anita.
But we're saying, though, we've spent...
But can Vernon Anita do a job up front?
Target man.
We don't know.
But we're saying...
Grot can play off Anita.
We're saying that we've spent a lot of money in 15 grand a week. If that's what the club
is just not a lot of money, is it?
That's not promotion money anymore, and it's daft to say it, but it's not. But I know Wolves, you can't really include them in it. They're
something different. Whatever. You just don't worry about them.
You look at Cardiff, you look at even like Bristol City. Neil Kilkenny left us all them years ago because Bristol City offered him more money. They pay well. Ipswich pay well. And if we're saying that
Cardiff, as much as I think they've massively overpaid, just spent £6 million on Gary Medine.
This is it. It's a bit of intent. Whether Gary Medine is not worth £6 million, obviously, but the actual signing of him, it shows a bit of intent. He can perform at this level. He has done it past. I've said it a few times now. When you see proven players at this level moving around clubs, and you just think, well, if you're serious in what you're saying, go for them. It's.
I think one thing that kind of annoys me on the striker front coming out of this is it is a series of unfortunate events. But I just look at Marcus Antonsen and just think it'd just be good to have a body there, just as an option, because clearly Grot, as we all said, get him in the under-23s, away from the pressure, and it then left us with a striker and someone who we have mostly utilised as a winger.
No, I must admit, I'm with you on that. As much as I don't think Antonsen's the answer, I think he's closer to it than Grot is.
100%. And even though Roof's done really well when he's played up front, he's not a striker. Let's be honest, he's not a striker.
The problem with Roof is, I'm going to say that when Roof does eventually leave Leeds United, he's going to be going down, not up.
100%.
Roof is not quite a number 10, and he's not quite a winger, and he's not quite a striker.
No.
In League One, he's a striker, because in League One, he's quick, and in League One, he's a good finisher. In the Championship, he's quick-ish and an average finisher.
He's the sort of player where if
he's on the bench, you're happy with him. If he's starting every week... he'd be one of the players where if by some minor miracle we made playoffs and got up, he'd be on the list to go. Yeah.
100%. And
I don't know, looking at that squad, that there'd be many that'd stay.
No, well, there's
a... I know that's the same for most Championship clubs, really.
I was just going to say, there's some clubs, though, where you look through the squad...
And you think they could do a job?
Like, if you look at Fulham's squad, they've got a few players, like, Ikernes and Sessegnon and Kevin McDonald in midfield. Yeah. There's players who you think they could do a job in Premier League. When you look at Leeds...
Size,
Ayling probably could if he's fully fit. Janssen could. Size could.
Yeah. You see, Hernandez would have to go. His legs have gone.
Oh,
in terms of Premier League.
I keep saying it every podcast. I don't think he'll be here next season.
No, neither do I. I don't wish him any ill. He's done a good job for us. He's been a good player for us.
I think he's done. But is there anyone else in our squad who you'd say could hack it in Premier League?
No.
Janssen, Size, Ayling when he's fully fit.
I mean,
it's too soon to tell with De Bock. Forshaw can, because we've seen him do it.
He's done it. Vieira
probably could.
Possibly.
Maybe in a year or two.
Yeah. But beyond that, no. Not at all.
And really, to get promoted from the Championship, you need 6 players who you think.
Look at Huddersfield last year when they went up. Granted, they're in a bit of a free fall at the moment, but you looked at that team. Granted, a lot of them were on loan, but they had like Aaron Moy there. They had Schindler. They had some decent players.
And Schindler, there. Chris Lerver has made the step up well.
Is it Hegeler? The one who scored,
Hefele.
the one who scored against us.
And we had the kids from Chelsea.
Izzy Brown,
Casey Palmer.
Yeah.
You looked at that team and you thought, actually, yeah, it's a decent team.
And then you looked at the strikers and thought, no, but then they went out and spent like 10 million on De Poitre and
Mounier.
Yeah.
And, you know, like when Bournemouth went up, you looked at them, players like Harry Arter and stuff who's gone up to Premier League, done a good job. You do need that there. And you look at Wolves, I mean, I know we're saying Wolves can't be.
Wolves, we can't compare ourselves to, but you look at that squad and most of them.
Yeah. I think sadly, you look at the players we've had, especially over the last 3 years, if we'd have been adding to those, I mean, just again, that core of...
It is true
at
that
least, at least Cook, Taylor and Byram, with 3 players who clearly would do a job in the Premier League.
Well,
and
Taylor is now getting a go and he's doing fine. Yeah. And Byram's played the last couple, now he's finally back from injury.
Lewis Cook played against Chelsea.
Apparently
tore Chelsea
absolutely ran the show away at Chelsea.
He tore Chelsea apart.
But we say it all the time. I mean, yeah, loads of those young players were good, but he's an absolute mile above any of them.
I mean, there's a reason, and I know you can kind of take or leave some of the players that now play England youth internationals because the conversion rate of going from that to the first team isn't what it used to be, but he was captain of the England. Was he captain in the England under 18s team when they won the European Championships?
Captain under 20s when they won World Cup.
That happens for a reason. You are in that position.
Well, there's a reason that he got called up for England.
Yeah. And we, you know, I think loads of Leeds fans have been looking at Bournemouth going, why are you not playing this guy? Yeah. He is an outstanding midfielder. At
least Eddie Howe's finally realised this by the look of it.
Mm.
It's like you say, I mean, you could go back further than that, you know, when we had Gradle, Snodgrass House, and, you know, if we'd have carried on progressing, I'm not saying throwing silly money at it, but...
Just keeping players like Johnson and Kilkenny, or at least getting someone in, not, you know, maybe not so much Kilkenny, but Bradley Johnson, not the most intelligent of footballers, but Jesus, he offered you something.
So you two know full well, when Bradley Johnson left, I gutted me when Johnson went. You never saw him lose an header. He was just your typical centre midfielder, combative, not the greatest player, as we've said.
It like a bastard.
Yeah. But, you know, it's just...
And again, if you then go with the philosophy of, okay, we are going to bring these young players in, and these are the players that in 3 years' time will be the basis of our first team, that's fine. But again, we come back to the problem of...
Every time we bring in a youngster, we drop in 2 senior players because they're going somewhere else. So we're just staying stationary.
Yeah.
But last thing before we go on to the other news.
What other news?
I asked this question either a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and we had 2 yeses and a no. And I think it might have changed now. Do you think we can get in the playoffs this year? I am still no, as I was before.
My heart says yeah.
Your heart says yeah.
My heart says yeah. My head says no.
It's very much a case of, can we? Yes.
Well,
will we? No. No.
I'm very sceptical now.
I think now this period of suspensions and injuries is we are going to fall too far behind.
I'm going to be the beacon of optimism and say just.
I can have a rest now.
Fair enough. Right, we'll fly through the other news because some of it we've actually mentioned anyway. Malik Wilkes ended up going to Grimsby, even though the last time we recorded he was definitely going to Carlisle.
It was literally 5 minutes after we finished recording.
We walked out, looked on Twitter, and he was going to Grimsby instead, but hopefully he gets some goals.
Imagine if he'd got all the way up to Carlisle and he gets told he's not going to Grimsby. For fuck's sake.
Did you see that goal that he scored under 23 a few weeks ago where he knocked it past 2 defenders and just ran past them?
Yeah.
Either they had really slow defenders or Malik Wilkes is faster than I realised.
I mean, yeah, they've always said he's quick, but that was ridiculous.
In that, he looked absolutely lightning.
Looked like he was running against Jamie Clapham.
Another one that happened just as we were recording last time, Pascal Struijk. Sinus striker. Centre-back from Ajax. Under-17 international, played at Euros. It's another young one, we'll see how he goes. He had an interesting debut for under-23s in that 2-2 draw with Birmingham. Scored a goal, scored an own goal.
Very Johnny Woodgate, Stephen Taylor.
It's Woodgate.
I said to you, if you're going to get a player from anyone's academy, Ajax is probably as good a shout as any.
To be honest, I mean, he's probably a very capable centre mid if he's a centre back and he's from Ajax.
Yeah.
Obviously, we signed Tyler Roberts, but we've spoke about that at length, really. The good thing is the initial fee is $2.5 million. When like a week and a half ago, they were talking about 4, and we were saying that's too much. If it's 2.5, then I think. And the West Brom fans are furious.
Yeah, and I think you said I can't remember what their local paper is, but it's like the Birmingham Mail or something like that. Yeah. Their reporter said it was a disappointing move for them in that regard.
That's one of the things that gives me hope about him being... I mean, it's not going to turn the season around on his own this year by any means, but that's what gives me hope of him being good. He better
turn it around.
It's what gives me hope of him being good. I always say that if... it's like the management thing. Grayson got sacked and everyone still likes him. If he's leaving West Brom, not West Brom fans are going, oh, good luck in future, you're going to be really good, we really like you, wish you weren't going. Then he must be doing something like that. The one move that we've been calling the entire season with no evidence, just because we think it'll happen, that Andy Lonergan will leave in January. Nailed on to happen, fell through on deadline day.
Yeah, he was there.
Who did they end up getting in the end? Sunderland?
I don't think they got anyone.
They were linked with someone else.
They were linked with Eldin Jakupovic.
Yes.
But I don't think it happened.
Jesus.
But so that ended up falling through.
Did Peacock Farrell get his move? Or?
He had his trial at Landskrona. I didn't hear how else, so I'm guessing he's just back.
Nice little holiday. Yeah. Hope he went to Legoland.
Yeah, I hear Sweden's lovely in January. It probably looks nice. I bet there's beautiful scenery covered in snow.
I'll check his Instagram, see if he's posted any nice, wilderness pictures.
In all fairness, though, if we're on a budget now, it's 80 quid now, 2 for 1 on ferry.
The other one, this one, it's another under 23 one, but it's quite interesting. Jordan Stevens from Vegan United, Forest Green Rovers, 17 years old, played 15 games this season in League Two, in middle of midfield.
I will say I do keep forgetting that they're not like
a non-league
in the 12th tier of football now.
Yeah, apparently he was wanted by bloody everyone.
I just hope it's not another one. How often do we hear this?
That's the problem, you see.
Sean Holloway.
No, Robbie McDade.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? That so many of these, it could be that he's really good at 17 and he stays exactly this good, which makes him not good enough. But then you get some who are shite at 20 and really good at 23.
Yeah.
It's not an exact science.
No. Especially if he's playing regularly in the Football League.
If he's playing regularly in League Two, it can't be that lightweight.
Oh no, must have something about it. Yeah, if he's getting knocked
But you do kind of think I'd rather see that sort of deal as a buy and loan back.
That's what I would have done with him, actually.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of them deals. But if he's not going to play, buy him, just go. But keep him for the rest of the season. Keep playing him.
Yeah,
it's better for his development. Yeah. But apparently, the only knowledge of the fee is that it's 6 figures. That will make it probably 150.
Yeah.
If it had been any higher than that, they'd have said a figure close to $250,000.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So I think it'll be that. Deal is to 2020, option of a further year. I asked the 4 Forest Green Rovers fans in the world on Twitter. 2 of them got back to me. They both said he's the best young player they've seen. Right. Admittedly, it's Forest Green, and they're only just into Football League, so they won't have had many, but they were saying, even ones that we've played against and stuff, he's one of the best young players they've seen at that level. Really? I don't know if their opinion is trustworthy. I have no idea.
There are some people on Twitter.
The people that got back to me could be idiots, but it's all I've got to go on, so I'm going to choose to believe them. Yeah. They can't be plastic fans if they're going to watch Forest Green.
Yeah. It's bloody Glory supporters watching them go up the ranks of, the LDV, the Vanarama.
And then
bloody FAVs.
And we did lose one player released on February 1st. Eoghian Stokes.
I'm gutted.
Owen.
He looked like a rabbit in headlights, didn't he, when he played against Newport County?
That's it. There are people who've watched him and say he's got a bit of talent, but the only time I really saw him was that senior game, and he looked absolutely awful, in fairness.
Is he Did he go out on loan at any point?
Don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't remember him going out on loan.
No. He was linked with a couple, but I don't think it ever happened.
Yeah, and again, once you get to 21, you kind of get a rough idea, especially now that he's not getting a run in the under-23s.
Yeah.
Then
it was time to go.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they just released him because transfer window was shut. There's no point leaving it to the season. If you release him now, he can go get another club.
Yeah.
Whether he drops to League Two and tries to find a club or even conference, or the Irish season starts like back end of
soon,
like middle of February, doesn't it? So
yeah,
even
if it just to keep his fitness,
it could go back over there. And I mean, even if he doesn't get straight in a team over there, I bet that nearly every Irish Premier League team would take him.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, well, I mean, good luck to him. But I didn't really see enough out of him to think he's ever going to do well. Cut to the 2022 FA Cup when a goal from Owen Stokes knocks us out.
Yeah.
Right, and then after...
In all fairness, they will be playing for Kettering or something like that. It'd be third round when they knock us out.
Coincidentally, after Leeds decided to release a young Irish kid, Ian Hart decided to go full... I believe, as the kids call it, your da. I've got the tweet in front of me. Fuming tonight. Went to watch Leeds under 23s v Birmingham. Leeds is losing its identity. All I could hear was Spanish being spoken by players and manager. We are a club over years and years brought through quality players. By the way, if the grammar's wrong, I'm reading this word for word. But what I witnessed is players lacking passion, desire to wear the Leeds shirt with pride. Everyone knows I love Leeds, but too many foreign players in 23s not good enough and killing the younger players' pathway. Andrea and Victor are very good. Victor, debatable.
As we've recently discussed.
But something needs addressing ASAP. Before we go on to a breakdown of how he's actually, of his points, what did you think about what Ian Hart said?
Right, well, before you go any further, Ian Hart's from the Republic of Ireland, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe, if we're being honest, what he did was move here from a foreign country and take the place of a young English lad in our academy.
And this is coming from someone who's half Irish here now, making this point. Stop talking bollocks. Yeah, I love Ian Hart, but sorry, he's talking shy.
Honestly, I just like the idea of, just pick a player, Tom Pearce, just shouting out in Spanish. Donde? Oriol, queso. ¿Qué?
Oh, Luciano just stood somewhere there in the crowd. See?
Well, you start to see the limits of our Spanish.
I am sure that these comments, by the way, have absolutely nothing to do with Ian Hart representing some young English players in Leeds Academy and probably going to be representing some of our current under-18s and under-16s.
And hang on a minute, right? If he's going on about foreign footballers coming and blocking the pathways of young, teams from young kids from that nation, didn't he have a spell in Spain?
Yeah, I believe he went to Levante.
Yeah. Again, I love Ian Hart, but...
He went to Carlisle as well, and that is a different country altogether.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to give him one bit of credit. I do, when I've watched the under-23s, Carlos Cabreran does shout in Spanish a lot. That bit, because the team, the majority of it, doesn't speak Spanish, that bit, he has a point.
Yeah.
Right? Because it is easier to coach in England in English for the players. Outside of that, he said all he could hear was Spanish being spoken by the players. There are 5 Spanish players between our under-23s, under-18s and under-16s. Adrian Balboa, Hugo Diaz, Maga Gomez, who's been in England since 2014 and probably speaks pretty good English.
Yeah.
Alex Pachuca, Oriol Ray. And Gomez wasn't even playing. So in that squad, there was 4 Spanish-speaking people. I mean, Sarkic may speak a bit, even though he was in Portugal. He might do. I don't know.
Possibly.
And, Struijk's Dutch. He probably speaks about 8 languages.
English will be a second, though, like all Dutch people.
But yeah, so if 4 players out of 16 are Spanish speakers and all he could hear was Spanish, I'm afraid, Mr. Hart, you're talking bollocks.
In my head now, I'm just hearing, Chicos, 4-4-2.
No, I believe it's
Just say
Leeds,
like say, Tom
Leeds
Pearce.
under 23s will be playing Quattro fucking dos.
Malik Wilkes just, what?
Just see one of them, can't you?
Dos. 14? No, that's you too. Fuck.
So yeah,
You could just say one at young.
Just looking across, go, Carlos! Okay?
One at young English lads just sit there. Fuck off, Carlos.
but yeah,
What's the Spanish for fullbacks?
yeah. But Ian Hart saying that we should be looking at English players. Well, we
are.
What would he rather we did? Should we re-sign the Mackays?
Who are Scottish?
Yeah, yeah, they are actually. I forgot the Scottish. No, yeah. I mean, I'm sure that part of it was he was just pissed off about something.
Can I just say, it's part of me thinking you could have stopped that sentence. That there's part of me thinking he was just pissed.
To be sure.
By the way, I have to say the one that actually annoyed me more was Brian Dean.
Yeah.
Because Brian Dean did a thing, and you'll have seen it on Twitter. It's like a fucking disease, this that keeps happening. He basically piped up agreeing with Ian Hart. So someone very calmly said, okay, but 9 of the 16 were from the UK now, and there was only 4 Spanish players. And he put, yeah, but it's the perception. Fuck off. It's the perception saying, no, but that's not what it feels like. That's the shit Donald Trump says when you confront him with a fact.
Yeah.
He just goes, yeah, but it doesn't feel like that.
Good for you, Donald, but still.
But the thing is...
It's very right-wing speak, isn't
No,
it?
it's that. It's not even so much right wing. It's just bollocks. Because left wing people can do the same. Left wing people could go, no Muslim has ever committed a crime ever, and you could go, yeah, but here's the thing. But that's because of the perception. It can work on both sides. It's not, but it's just a thing that people do now. They just go, yeah, but I don't feel like that's true. Yeah, but it is.
Doesn't make you right.
But you think, though, right, of the time when Ian Hart had come through academy and when he was just about breaking into the first team, you had, I know it were a bit before him, you had Gary Kelly, Irish, McPhail, Irish, Maybury, Irish, Kewell, Australian. You know...
I mean, I know what you mean. That is easier for them to settle because they're all native English speakers. But... it makes a sod all difference. To be fair to them, the club's response was quite good.
Oh, yeah.
They just responded saying, well, we picked based on talent, not passports.
God, imagine him at Arsenal. Fucking hell, he'd explode. But, it's just...
Sorry, I've just got an image of Arsenal's under-18s manager communicating with the players. Going, just trying to communicate like that. I go, bloody hell, look, he's just speaking... Africa, I don't know if it's Afrikaans or what it is.
Afrikaans does have clicks in it.
But
that's like that, that speech pattern. Only with
yeah,
words,
I don't know
not
if you'd
noises.
look at that and think, oh yeah, the whole team's speaking that. What, even Chris Dagnall up front? Yep, even him.
Fuck it, it's time for Esperanto.
Do you reckon, though, just because he's been tired now with that badge unveiling video now, it's just like, fuck it now, I might as well just be a full dip.
Is that what it is?
Three sheets to the wind.
Is that what it is? That he's mad at the club for getting him involved in that video?
Yeah. Do you know what? How much of a shitstorm can I cause in one tweet? But, I mean, it's like you say...
The other thing that he's messed up with is the inference that Spanish players lack passion and desire.
Listen, I've always thought of Spanish people as being very passionate people.
But he's talking about a nation here where the players have defended a European Championship and won a World Cup.
Yeah, don't want any of them. Well, his best player's Spanish.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know he spat at someone, but he's still his best player.
Oh, yeah. And not only that, he's talking about a nation where, the best 2 teams are Real Madrid and Barcelona. He can't really say that they lack passion.
I think it's a very small-minded view to look and go, yes, we should only be developing British and Irish players.
And the other thing is as well, if our under-18s and under-16s were all chock full of lads from all over the world, I mean, I wouldn't really care, but I could understand his point.
Yeah.
But when you look at us under-18s and under-16s, it's just not the case.
The under-16s,
there's loads of English
especially.
lads, and there's a few lads of African descent who I believe have been in England since they were like 6.
It's
but like there's a Kenyan
Samuel
and,
Amisa.
people like that. But I mean, it's just he just don't have a leg to stand on. It's bollocks. In fairness to Leeds fans, a few did, but for the most part, they weren't sycophantic just because it was Ian Hart. There was loads of people just going, nah, bollocks.
I just think on the whole now, you look at how you know, none of us are particularly happy about the number of foreign players in the Premier League, but at the same time, you can't look at that and go, listen, if we want to develop the best young players, then we are only going to have British players. You know, you can't have it both ways. You either want to have the best possible team you can get, or you say, no, we are going to focus on developing British players. And that's fine, but unfortunately, you can't have it both ways.
You can't go in and complain that it's not 1991.
Yeah.
No.
You know,
It's not
Look
that
at Alfie
Alex.
Haaland there, the bloody blonde-haired foreigner that he is.
Speaking of, I'm still pissed off that we haven't signed his kid yet.
Yeah.
The massive Leeds fan, yeah.
The massive Leeds fan who constantly bangs on about wanting to play for Leeds and appears to be really good. He's like banging goals and he's 17.
Yeah. Loves a tackle.
Being linked with you there.
Yeah. But, you know, getting back to what he said, though, you look at that team that he played in at Leeds over the years. How many signings were foreign? Especially under George Graham. Fucking Molinar, Haller, Ribeiro, Hayden, Vinard, Hasselbank. You know, did he? I bet he didn't have that opinion then, did he? You know.
I mean, I know that. I mean, that is slightly different because it was for the senior team, but it still blocks.
It's still blocking
it still blocks a kid coming up.
Yeah. You know, I mean,
but at the same time, you know, if you say it blocks a kid coming up, there might not necessarily be a kid coming up.
And if he's good, he'll get through anyway.
Yeah. Look at Smith.
Yeah.
Look at Alan Smith. You had Hasselbank there, Hasselbank and Bridges, and then Smith. He got in. You know, he built through it.
When we were, you know, in the top 4 teams in Europe, he was our second choice striker.
Yeah. You know.
Well, I do think a lot of it comes down to Tyler Denton was on the bench and not in the team. And by the way, he should have been in the starting lineup as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I've assumed, to be honest, with the defensive troubles we've had,
when I saw
he was on the bench, I figured the reason he was on the bench is because they didn't want to knacker him out because he was probably going to have to be on the bench for the first team the next day.
Yeah.
But the two that were on the bench were Tom Pearce and Romario Vieira, who both played all game for under 23s the day before.
Tom Pearce sat there slacking the Spanish.
Speaking of Tom,
I like the idea of him and Romario just sat there speaking Spanish to each other, so the rest of the subs bench doesn't know.
Yeah, that was the other one of the ones
J. Roy Gross not allowed to know the Spanish.
Of the ones who aren't UK and Ireland.
This point and go wing. See,
of the ones who aren't UK and Ireland in that team. One of them, because he hasn't declared yet, I think Romario Vieira's still down as Guinea-Bissau or something.
If you go Football Manager, he is
Guinea-Bissau.
Because Ronaldo is now English because he's played for England in the 20s.
Yeah.
But, so there's him. Sarkic is one of the foreign ones. He's Montenegro.
Yeah, but it's from Grimsby.
From Grimsby.
I think you said it to me. It shatters the illusion of the name Oliver Sarkic.
Yeah.
Grimsby.
There's only one last bit of news, and it's speaking of people on Twitter getting really mad about stuff for no real reason. That photo of all the people on their phones, like 4 hours before kickoff.
It were 11:30, and when you
even before the club confirmed it was 11:30, if there was other people in the changing room, it wasn't going to be an hour and a half before kickoff.
No,
and they were all wearing the travel stuff.
Yeah, it looked like they had all literally
just
been
put
sat
the bags
down
out.
2 minutes, and they were just. Yeah. They'll have probably they'll have been on that coach. I dare say they'll have been having a bit of a brief on
looking
the coach.
around. Tom Pearce is there going, boys, what's the Wi-Fi password?
Yeah, but
it was really hard. It was really hard because he's used to being told it in Spanish.
I like how we've just decided that Tom Pearce is just this destructive influence now. It's took over from Juve.
No, it's all the under 23s. They're all plotting in Spanish.
But especially then when your captain comes out and says, "Look, it's not the case. It was hours before the game." And we're in an age now where smartphones and social media and that tech precedence.
There was a couple of things. Well, there was a good thing that KC put on Twitter, so I'll leave him to say that. But it was the thing that Liam Cooper said, where he went, "If we won, no one gives a shit about that photo.
Yeah.
That's not a quote, but that's what he said. Yeah. And he's right. It's.
If
In fact,
that
I bet
photo-
they were all on the phones the day before we went top at league.
Bet they were.
When we went top at league, I bet 4 hours before game, they were all in changing room looking at the smartphone.
Do people have it in their heads that it's like a Nike advert where they're all doing like sat down but doing a bit of juggling and fancy skills and Ronaldo Vieira's going around nutmegging people left, right, and said, "Go ole." Like,
Mash Canada's playing and Tom Pearce is translating the lyrics.
It's not only that though.
It's lasting image of Tom Pearce. I've never seen him in my life.
By the way, if anyone says on Twitter, because it's Nike, Mash Canada might be Portuguese.
I think it's a Brazilian song,
So it's probably Portuguese.
but still.
Fuck it.
If Tom Pearce is Spanish, then
if that picture's taken at 2:00,
Different thing.
yeah,
Completely
taking
different
the
thing.
piss. If they're walking around the pitch and they're all pissing about on the phones and there's Christiansen there trying to give a fucking talk, then yeah, fair enough, it's taking the piss, but fucking 4 hours before game,
It was
what
there
are you
was a lot
wanting
of
them
people.
to do?
There was a lot of people saying stuff like, "Yeah, but they're at work."
They're not at work.
One, they haven't started. They are at work. They haven't started yet.
Yeah, that's
And
like
second of all, when you're in a quiet bit at work and you're not doing anything,
you look at your phone.
do you look at your phone?
no, you got to sit perfectly still.
Because I believe I do.
Yeah.
I just sit
In
perfectly
fact, I
still,
believe
looking
half the
straight forward
tweets-
until I get some more instructions.
Just stands, goes like Stig. Just don't stand.
But yeah, the thing I said that I put on Twitter was, I'm sorry, my big issue here is why are we letting people in the dressing room on a match day?
There is that.
Yeah.
Like,
Why are stadium tours in the changing rooms when the players are there?
of course Tom Pearce looked lost. A group of strangers are ogling at him going, why is that dick not on his phone? Speaking all Spanish. Like, what? I don't understand why. I can understand it if it was like first thing on a morning, like before the players are in. But once the players are in, no, don't go in the changing room.
No, leave it.
I'm not like, I fully appreciate that the team news probably isn't up on a whiteboard somewhere and someone's going to snap a picture of it. But it just seems really on to let strangers in the dressing room while the players are sat there.
Yeah.
It is definitely one of them things where if we'd have played well and won, no one would give a shit.
I mean, that to me, that's the equivalent of walking into that changing room in the late 90s and seeing them all reading a book. You'd be saying...
Or playing cards.
Yeah, you'd be saying, oh, well, fucking hell, they should be all dressed
Sorry, I've
and
got an idea
changed.
of Lee Boyer reading a book.
Or ringing the bookie to bet on a horse.
Lee
Oh,
Boyer's
Mr.
book.
Matteo. How nice of you to call us again.
You could just see Lee Boyer's book, couldn't it? Mafia Slags.
Has this book been turned into a TV series that's been narrated by Danny Dyer? Yes, this is the book for me. No, it's just stupid, especially at a time when we're on a bit of a bad run. There's just people looking to pick at anything. And
There was also, I can't remember who it was, but someone put something on Twitter who just said, you do realise this has all come from someone who's supposed to be a Leeds fan releasing a picture to deliberately show the players in a bad light.
Yeah.
In order to try and get some retweets.
yeah.
Worked.
Oh yeah, it worked.
It's a dick, but it worked. But it's like I said, what...
Mind you, but I suppose Twitter is built on people posting bad things to try and get retweets. Just ask Dele Alli.
Yeah. But you see... I mean...
Do not Google that.
Yeah. What I'd say, though, these people is... What are you wanting What are you wanting players to do 4 hours before kick-off? What are you wanting them to do?
Yeah,
If you don't want them on the phone, what are you
Should
wanting
they
them
all
to
be
do?
having a massive, in-depth tactical analysis at 11:30 in the morning?
Do
Just
these
sitting there
people think
watching
that when they're all
videos.
coming in wearing their massive Beats headphones, they're listening to tactical instructions, like being piped directly into their ear? No, commercial R&B.
I mean, how far do you go with it? I mean, genuinely, I'd love to sit down with someone who thinks that's wrong and say, well, okay then, what do they do?
I like to think the team have got a massive Candy Crush game going together.
Could you imagine they're all actually on the team WhatsApp and really bonding really well?
Tom Pearce looking at it going, okay.
Okay?
If you want to set the record straight and talk to us, Tom Pearce, and prove that you're not Spanish, we will happily have you on the podcast.
But at the minute, Ian Hart says you are. You're the left back. He's a left back. Right. Well, I believe KC has a Who Playeds for us.
Do have a Who Played.
But before we go in, because of the timing of the recording, we are going to be ahead. We're going to miss the official announcement. It's just going to happen.
Yeah.
But as of like 20 minutes ago, Paul Heckingbottom is expected to be appointed the new head coach tonight. He will be in charge of training at Thorpe Arch tomorrow morning. Leeds have activated his release clause. It's pretty much done. This is all from Phil Hayes, so it's probably right. Basically, we're recording this Monday night, so Tuesday morning, this podcast will probably come out on the Tuesday. So he will almost certainly be our new manager by the time this comes out.
I'll get behind him if he's the man that the
you've got
to do it.
We've got to give him a go.
But I'm underwhelmed.
I don't have to. I don't have to do anything.
I'm underwhelmed.
But I'm willing to.
I'm underwhelmed. If I'm being honest, in terms of who's out there, I think we could have done a lot better. But I'll back him. He's here,
I personally,
he's going to be here.
He isn't one I'd have picked, but once he's in, he's in. Hopefully he's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
I wish him all the best.
Yeah.
I can't see much changing, but
No.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, we've already talked plenty about him, so
Yeah.
I say we'll do that, and then just right at the end of the podcast, I'll check Twitter again just in case.
Well, in that case, it is time for another classic Who Playeds.
Are we not going to try and break it this week like I did?
No, I've gone with a reasonable game.
January 1987.
You say reasonable game, mate. Now, I don't know what you've picked here. You've gone further back than I was.
Yes, but it's a game we all think of fondly.
Hang on,
It's a game we all remember.
Are you telling me that you don't remember our time in the Championship first time around fondly? The end of it?
No, not really.
Well,
Clearly, if Bailey Campfield's not getting a game, it's not worth it.
It's not Nathan Cartman, but anyway, that's for another time.
all the poor man's Chris Jones.
Welsh hero, Chris Jones.
But for the game I have chosen, it is Leeds United versus Derby County. The 4-3 comeback.
Ooh,
I won't do well at this because I wasn't at that game.
I was.
That's the season that I got a half season ticket, the second half of that season.
That's right, yep. 96, 97?
Yeah.
97, 98.
97,
This
98,
is George Graham's
97. My first
full
only
season. Full season, I believe.
Yeah.
My first games were the season before that.
Yeah.
I went to a decent number of games that season, but not that one.
So in this game, we only used 2 subs as well. So you have 13 to choose from.
Right, fair enough.
Are we going for the... we need the coin toss as well.
The traditional coin toss.
Yes.
What's the cheapest thing I can flip over in this studio?
No, genuinely, right, I'm just looking now because I've got 5p's and a penny. Neither of them are great for a coin toss.
However, my wallet is out of reach, so... I don't know why you're
I'll
looking.
do it.
I don't
Yeah, you might as well flip for Jack.
Heads.
Heads it is.
Okay. Well, as there's an odd number, you have to go first.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I'll get some wrong in this. So.
So we go... Let's go 2 lives
Right.
in this. I think that'd be reasonable.
Have you got a pen, by the way?
I'm going to do it all on my phone.
Okay. Well, it's 97-8.
Yes.
So in goal, Nigel Martin.
That is correct.
Just because I know he scored one of the goals, it was either the 3rd or the 4th, Lee Bowyer.
That's the 4th. I'm
He's
fairly
got the
sure
winner,
that's the
didn't he?
winner.
But Alfie Ireland that scored. Well, I've said it.
I'm gonna not
He's throwing names out there.
I'm gonna not be a dick and say.
I will say that Lee Bowyer was one of the substitutes.
Yeah.
Oh, was he?
Yes. The other substitute is a very surprising name.
Well,
as well.
97-8. So Radaby.
That is correct.
If I were you, I'd go for the one you just said out
I
loud.
already said it, so yeah, Alfie Ireland.
That is correct.
Incorrect.
That'd been ace if it was not.
Two for two for both of you so far. Back to Jack.
Gary Kelly.
Gary Kelly is correct.
Harry Kewell.
Harry Kewell is also correct. 3 for 3. We are 100% so far.
7, 8. Hasselbank.
That is correct. Jimmy Hasselbank was the other substitute.
Wow, I'm surprised at that.
So if he were the other sub, 98, 99.
97, 98.
97, 98, sorry. David Weatherall.
Is correct.
So Radaby and Weatherall is centre back partnership.
And you've said
Kelly at back.
Kelly at right back, yeah.
So yeah, back to Jack.
I'm just trying to think of years.
I think there's 2 players in here you'll struggle with.
If Hasselbank was on the bench, then did Clyde Vinehard play?
That is incorrect.
Oh.
Clyde Vinehard was actually the next season.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
I could have sworn. I thought that in my head that was a Radaby Masinga.
No.
They're mates, so we'll sign them both. They're both from Suriname.
If Hasselbank were on the bench, Rod Wallace
is correct.
Yeah.
Concannon takes the lead.
I say this is a better year for him than it is me.
1, 2, 3, 4 left.
What positions are they again? I know we've got the left back.
There's left back, one of the centre mids.
Yeah, you got.
Is this a dodgy one like with me? It could be a
left
striker
back.
or winger.
Possibly 2 right midfield. This is George Graham. Essentially, there's another fullback. Yeah, there's 2 midfielders and 2 defenders, I'll say.
2 midfielders and 2 defenders left.
Yeah.
So we went 5 at back.
I think I know.
Off this team.
I've got a rough idea of who I think he might mean, but I'm not sure if he'll have played because he used to put fullbacks at wing all the time.
Yeah.
George Graham.
If that's the case, I've got one. But go on.
I want to say then, and this could take out my second life, Gunnar Haller.
That's what I was going to say.
Gunnar Haller is incorrect.
Ooh.
So let's see what Concannon can do now.
Midfielders. David Hopkin.
Is correct. Go again.
It's you. You're through to the end. I'm out of lives. You've already won.
So I've got a left back, a midfielder. Possibly.
I'm going to say a right back / right winger.
Right.
That's not Gunnar Haller.
And another striker.
No, just those 3.
It's one up front by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Just Wallace.
Who knows looking at this team itself.
Martin Heeden.
It's incorrect.
Bruno Ribeiro.
Bruno Ribeiro is correct.
Right.
Hero of mine. The first person I ever had on the back of a shirt, Bruno Ribeiro. 2 to go.
So a left back.
I'll just say, as we know them, it's a left back and a right back.
I think it's going to be too early, but Ian Hart.
Ian Hart is incorrect.
Yeah.
Not too early though, because he had
definitely played,
but I don't think enough to be regular.
No, you know earlier when I was saying, is it? It's because I wanted to go. Does he hate Spaniards?
Shit, Tom Pace has played already. It's older than he says. So I'm done. I'm done.
I can say there's only 2 left. You've already won it.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see if we can come up with it. So we're just waiting on what? A left back.
A left back
and a right back.
From that time.
Are we just call it
David Robertson?
David Robertson is correct.
Well played.
He is the left back.
Yeah,
well
David
played.
Robertson.
So
the right back / right mid, and it's not Gunnar Haller, and we've already said Gary Kelly.
And not Martin Heeden either.
Who else could it be?
I think he'd gone by then. Pemberton
had gone.
No, he'd gone by then because I never saw him.
I will
think he went
I will
96,
give you
97,
this
he
clue.
went.
He played for us in the Champions League.
He signed it and he was there in
And he was there in
99.
97, 98.
Yeah, why am I saying 98, 99?
Must be a mental block.
Yeah.
And he played in the Champions League. Is it Alan Mabry?
It is Alan Mabry. Alan Mabry started that game.
Wow.
Jesus.
And he was the one, he came off at half-time for Lee Bowyer.
Worked out well, to be fair.
God, I know that game ended up 4-3, so it was a really bad example. But God, he was negative, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I know that it was the right thing to do when he first came in.
Yeah.
But God, he was negative.
What did that end up then?
We had Jack. Jack got Nigel Martin, Gary Kelly, Lucas Radaby, and Jimmy Hasselbanks. That's 4. And Connie got David Weatherall, Alfie Haaland, David Hopkin, Bruno Ribeiro, Harry Kewell, Rod Wallace, and Lee Bowyer.
I'm just happy to be on board now. 1-1.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
a good... Yeah.
Isn't that the game that your dad made you leave?
Yep. Yeah, it is. We were 3-2 down, and I've been 12 at that point, and my dad got up. His exact words, still to this day, I remember it. He says, "Absolute shite. Come on, we're going home. We're going to miss the traffic," because we parked. When I used to go when I was a kid with my dad, we used to park at Lowfields at what was Wallace Arnold, just before flyover. And he parked in there, and he says, "Come on, absolute shite. We're going home."
And obviously the problem at that age is you don't get a say.
Nope. From that day, I have never once left a game early. Never once. And we got back in the car to John Bradley on 96.3 Radio Air, just calling out, "It's 3-all." Oh, and then literally no sooner had we got out of the car park where we were, came in, "It's 4." And my dad just sat there, just went, "For fuck's sake." And I was 12, but so obviously I didn't say it through fear of him putting my head through a window, but I just thought, yeah, for fuck's sake, Dad. Jesus Christ.
Well, you know that never leaving a game early.
Yep.
I had to leave the Cardiff game like 90 seconds before the end.
Jesus.
Because I was getting the bus back from Elm Road into town.
Yeah.
And so many people were leaving now. And if I don't go here, then I'm
not getting on this bus.
People who've got those buses know they've got a certain amount and then they all go into Leeds and then they all come back round.
Yeah.
But because at times of the buses to get home from Leeds, if you miss that first round of them, you're fucked. I don't believe that I'd ever left a game early that I can remember. And I said at 3-0 at half time, I said to the guy next to me, I went, "I might have to leave this game early at this rate because so many people are gonna, I'm going to be fucked for getting home."
It's okay, because...
And I had to, just like literally about 90 seconds left, I had to go out and just run. And I got the last one. Because half the buses had gone before full time because they were full.
My dad, he's got previous with missing goals as my dad. I remember we'd gone to a game, and for life of me, I can't remember who we were playing, but Brian Dean scored 2 goals in space of fucking 4 minutes. Both the goals were scored. We took one of my younger cousins who was really young at the time. We're talking like, it may have been 97. It was either 96, 97 or 97, 98, one of them 2 years. But I remember being there, we were in the East Stand, and he went down to the toilet with my cousin, and he says, it's still this day, he's stood there and he's getting him to go and all that, and he just heard 2 roars go up, and he was like, well, one of them were a goal, definitely. The second one, bit too quick, penalty maybe. Comes back, I'm just sat there on my own, and he's like, looked at scoreboard, and he just looked at my cousin, he just wanted to fucking thwack him down there. Yeah, just literally just bang down the stairs. He has got previous with it as my dad. Yeah, he's not good for that. Bless him.
I think given a lot of the time I've had season tickets, it's always been in like the Bremner Suite or what used to be the Premier Lounge. So I've gone downstairs early from games. Fucking the epic Charlton 1-1 games that were the dullest games. Just going down.
Still to this day, by the way, that one over Charlton is the worst game I've ever seen.
Genuinely, people talking about what they were getting from Asda.
Yeah.
You just sat trying to talk about anything else, go,
and I won't lie, there was 2 pretty good goals. David Norris's goal was a good finish, and Dorian DeViet scored theirs, and it was from about 30 yards. But it was the only 2 things that happened.
Yeah, everything else, it was just in the midfield, and just everyone, genuinely, where I was sat, there were 2 blokes talking about going shopping at Asda. Genuinely.
I hope I don't get any of that arse meat in me fish fingers. That sort of it was dire. Yeah, there's times I've not left games early. I'll just go to watch somewhere more comfortable.
It was that's how one of the reasons why I knew how bad that Cardiff game was, because so many had left. And I thought, I've been here also. No one left that early for anything else.
No.
So, speaking of things that if it goes wrong could make you want to leave early. Saturday, Sheffield United away.
Yeah.
They're 8th, 46 points from 30. Last 5 lost. I've written down here they lost 3-0 at Sheffield United. That can't be right. The last game they lost 3-0 to someone. I think it was Wolves off the top of my head. I think it was at Wolves. They got beat at home 1-0 by Villa. They beat Preston 1-0. Lost 1-2-1 at Norwich. 0-0 Sheffield derby.
To be fair, when you look at them games, it's the sort of results you'd expect, given current form. And
they started really well. They've dropped off a bit to closer to the level you'd expect. I mean, I thought they'd get in playoffs before the season.
We ruined them. They tonked us and
they tonked us 2-1.
I mean, that was...
It was.
It was very flattering.
Their keeper got sent off in the last match, but Jamal Blackman's normally the number 1 anyway, isn't he?
He's the one who was at Chelsea, wasn't he?
I think he's on loan from
Is
Chelsea.
He on loan? Right, fair enough.
But Simon Moore was in goal and he got sent off, but apparently Jamal Blackman's expected to be fit, so they won't actually miss anyone. A couple of decent defenders, Stearman and Chris Basham are pretty good. That Jack O'Connell's meant to be alright, but I haven't seen that much of him.
I say Stearman and Basham have been in and around this league all the careers, haven't they?
I just remember when, I'm pretty sure it was Bolton's academy director, and I think we had him for a period of time, and he boasted of producing some young players, and Chris Basham was on that list. You go, who's proud of producing Chris Basham?
The player that I really like from them won't be playing, David Brooks. He's been out for about 2 months now, glandular fever.
God, that's when you start to feel old, innit? When there's professional footballers out with glandular fever.
Well, Charlie Taylor had it, didn't he?
Yeah. Good player, though.
It's still Andy Gray when he went back to Bradford being out with shingles.
Yeah.
quite liked that.
Plague next. They've got John Fleck in middle. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
They're just solid, but up front, Billy Sharp, Clayton Donaldson, James Wilson on loan from Scum, Leon Clark. Again, if it comes to it, Ched Evans as well.
James Wilson is a good player to get in on loan.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's at Man United, so they'd probably be more reluctant to send us a player who isn't Cameron Borthwick-Jackson than there would be to others. But I've always quite liked him. He's always looked good when he's had some game time at Scum. So
I always band the drum about him. Billy Sharp.
Yeah,
we had him.
Sorry, was it James Wilson who threw up during a Brighton game?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but on loan there.
I was on New Year's Day.
Yeah. Right. Obviously, look, their squad is fine, and they haven't got that many injuries, so it'll probably be stronger than ours is at the minute. But the most important question, really, I mean, it looks like as manager is going to be Heckingbottom. So the most important question is, who the fuck is going to play in defence for Leeds?
El Gigante, Tom Pearce.
Is it going to have a furry muscle suit on?
See, I told you, Ian. Bastardo.
I mean, who else is there?
Well, genuinely, if you don't include the under-23s,
Vernon and Eat
there is our fit defenders are Pennington and De Bock.
Well, you're going to have to put Vernon and Eaton in there, aren't you, at full-back? You're going to have to do.
Well, he might play De Bock left-back, Dallas right-back. He's played Dallas right-back the last 2 games.
Who's he? He's not there.
Oh shit! Yeah, good point. He's played. He's not in charge. That's an excellent point, Casey. Okay, Christiansen played him at right back the last 2 games, so maybe Heckingbottom will do the same.
Heckingbottom's going to come in and go, what
Heckingbottom.
I don't
see you at the Bramall Lane.
I'll be waiting on you at the Bramall Lane.
Honestly, Heckingbottom's going to walk into this, go, what the fuck have I got to work with here?
I don't think he'll play Dallas because I think he'll go defensive.
Do you think he'll play Dallas on wing?
Yeah.
And like have both of them?
Yeah. I think he'll go...
Treat them like they're Gary Kelly and Alan Mabry.
Oh, God. I think Anita will play at full-back. It's anyone's fucking guess.
So what do you reckon? Anita right back, DeBock left back, Pennington... Right, Christiansen, before he got sacked, was on about playing Forshaw in centre midfield. And in the play ratings that I did for last game, I said, if he does that, he wants a slap.
Yeah.
So I'm really against that idea.
Yeah.
Basically, whoever's in best form of the under-23s.
I put Ray in.
It could be Ray if they wanted to use him as a centre-back. It could be that Stroik if they rate him. Halme if he's fit and they rate him. I mean, Halme's at least like 6'4", so...
There's a bit of height in there. I mean,
some height and he can get his head on some things.
I mean, you think if they went with Anita, you've got DeBock who's out wide anyway, so he doesn't really come into it. Pennington who's not the tallest and he's not the best in air.
For a centre-back, no.
So at least if they were to play Halme... who knows? It could be shite in there.
I don't even know if
got a bit of height.
The thing is, I don't even know if Halme's fit because he hasn't played in the last few under-23. He hasn't played. I'm not sure he's played any under-23 games since he came in.
No,
don't worry, boys. Grot
got it right back
just to get his head on it.
It's getting to that stage. I think it was Mike Stellick wrote a joke, but basically a joking article saying that Leeds need a centre back and basically saying it should be Lasogga. And at this rate,
it's Richard Cresswell at Derby all over again.
But no, genuinely, I mean, you've got
Romario Vieira.
He has played at centre back in the under-23s this season.
I mean, other than Anita, there ain't really anyone established that you can say.
And the problem is,
I wouldn't want Anita at centre back.
God, imagine.
No, I mean that'd be even worse than when we played Paul Telfer.
He was guiding AD White through those games.
Like a genuine, I don't know what they're going to do at centre half.
Unless they change formation, go 3 at back, and then play the wing backs.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
But we're still playing 2 full backs at centre back.
That needs us having 3 centre backs, and we've only got 1. I mean,
do we look at Paddy O'Connor or someone like that?
Or Paddy O'Connor.
Yeah.
I mean, I know if they did go 3 at the back, you could have Pennington as the central one, use DeBock as a left centre back, which isn't ideal by any means.
No.
And then have an O'Connor or someone like that alongside him, just so there's extra bodies, and then you could have
someone in front,
and then you could have maybe, depending on whether they wanted the work rate or just solid defensively, either Dallas and Alioski or Dallas and Anita as the wing backs.
I was just going to say, if you did move DeBock in, it's not ideal, but Alioski has played left wing back.
I think that if we did switch to 3 at the back with wing backs, then I think Alioski would be playing there. At least this week when we've got everyone out.
Yeah.
Because DeBock would probably need it in field. But I mean, just... The good thing is that... is this the game where Phillips and O'Kane are both back?
They're both done after this.
Are they both back for this game?
Phillips
was 2 games.
He'll be back then.
So he was definitely banned for the last 2.
Phillips is centre back.
Right, I wouldn't, but I've heard worse.
Yeah, there's worse goals out there.
Yeah. He'll put himself about and he'll run his bollocks off and he'll definitely get sent off for 2 yellows if he plays centre back. But
no, genuinely.
I mean, I think that
good luck, Heckingbottom.
I think
good
that you
luck
have to. Personally, I think you have to throw one of the 23s in.
Yeah.
Because why are they there? If you don't trust them enough to do this in an emergency,
they shouldn't be there.
Then they shouldn't be there.
Yeah. You know, I mean,
Paddy O'Connor looked good in pre-season.
Yeah.
As a right back, so playing him as a right centre back, which I'm sure he's got the top. He's tall enough and he is a centre back. So
It'd only be. I mean, obviously we're not talking that, but I mean, I used to play left centre back. Someone asked me to play right centre back. It wasn't an issue.
No,
you're 5 yards further in. That's all to where I normally am. But so they could do it, but it's like we've just said. Then these players, if they're there for a reason, these
you've got to trust one of them.
So yeah.
So what do we reckon? So we reckon it'll be Wiedwald in goal.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say we stick with forward back.
And say one of the under-23s.
Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, that it'll play Dallas as a midfielder.
Yeah.
So I think Anita right back, DeBock left back, Pennington, and I'm going to take a shot at Paddy O'Connor.
I'd say Oriole Ray, but there's a chance for either or, isn't there?
So I'm just looking at the team from the Birmingham game, which was, I think it was like 4 days ago, and the back four, as it appears here anyway, is Diaz, Stroik, Vieira and O'Connor. Mm-hmm. So I'd probably lean towards Romario Vieira.
He's been in and around team. He's been on bench on it last few games. So.
Well, also, it could well be Tom Pearce himself, El Gigante.
See?
Because he is a left back, but I've heard some people say that he's been used as a centre back. Yeah. So either him at left back or they moved De Bock in.
Where's Joshua Vermeulen when you want him?
Oh, God. No, do you know what I heard someone say when I was waiting for the bus back from Elm Road, actually, after the game? I heard someone say, fucking, where's Ross Killock when you need him?
Ross Killock, yes.
With Phillips being back, I think it'll be Forshaw and Phillips. Because Vieira hasn't looked fit any of the last few games. I'm guessing, it's knee tendonitis, isn't it? It just does get worse and then get better a bit. And it needs managing, so I think he'll probably get rested.
So you can see him being on bench, maybe, can't you?
Yeah.
I think Hernandez will play.
If it were
I don't
me,
think he should, but
if it were me, I would play him. I'd play Hernandez, but I'd go back to having Hernandez at 10 instead of playing Roof at 10, which is what we've done the last few and play Hernandez left. I'd have Hernandez at 10. I'd drop Roof. Mm-hmm. I'd give Alioski one more shot
and have Dallas
on the other side.
Yeah.
But if they drop Alioski, that's absolutely fine. He does deserve to be dropped.
Yeah. And to be fair, at this stage, given where we are, I'm not opposed to giving Sacco a couple of games.
No, not at all.
I wouldn't be furious, but when he's come on, he's been awful the last couple of times.
I don't know. I don't think he was too bad at Ipswich.
It did.
Yeah, but he's come on 3 times since then.
I haven't seen those.
Yeah, and he's been he was absolutely abysmal. When he came on against Cardiff, he was so bad. He was like a headless chicken, even more than normal.
Yeah. But if nothing else, at least does it not give Alioski a bit of a boot up the arse if he's dropped for a game or two?
I honestly feel like going, fuck it, Sarkic. Or, just going, here, have a kick up the arse, here's a youth player.
Here's Temeneshkov. Put him on the wing. Is he a winger? No, fuck it, stick him there. Yeah. Where's Chris Dawson?
There's always J-Boy.
I'd sooner Jack Clark than
J-Boy. We know you like to go out wide, you're playing right wing, finally gets in box.
Honestly, having seen the last bit, I only saw some of the under-23 game because I was in office, but having seen the last bit of it, I'd sooner Sam Dalby than Grot.
Jesus.
Came on, got a goal.
Yeah.
Right, this is the weirdest predictions that we're going to have because as of yet, even though it looks nailed on its second moment, as of yet, we don't know who's going to play and we don't know who's going to be manager.
No.
I would love to be optimistic, but I say we get beat 2-1. I'm
going to say we grind out a 1-1 draw.
I'm going to say we lose 1-0.
Yeah, it's very hard to be. I will say one thing: with us getting a new manager, if it was anyone other than us, I'd be saying, "Well, they've got a new manager. Teams always win when they get a new manager." But I just can't see it.
When you're scrambling around trying to figure out who you defend, even if you're playing a back four and you can't figure out who the 2 centre backs are going to be, you're in a bit of trouble
against a team who, granted, as we've said, they've dropped off the 8th. They're not a bad team.
They've only dropped off because they were 4th.
Yeah, they're not a bad team. And, that strike force alone, any one of them 4 can cause you problems. Yeah, and that's with a full-strength defence there
and they will be massively up for it because it's Sheffield United and Leeds.
It's a chance to do a double over us.
Yeah, Wilder will have them fired up.
Yeah. If someone offered me a draw, I'd snap their hand off.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. At this point, till we get everyone back. If we had, two proper centre halves available, then I'd maybe, I'd be a bit more optimistic in saying we can go there and get a point. But I'm saying it more in hope than all else.
Yeah. I think if we can keep things tight and make a good account of ourselves, then I kind of take that at this point.
See, if we can frustrate them, like as you say, keep it tight. Even to first half hour, just get into it. And
Sorry, I've just realised we're all being really fucking stupid. When we were doing his teams, then we all forgot Tyler Roberts existed.
I don't think he'll play.
No, he might not start, but none of us even mentioned his name, did we? To be honest, did you forget about him? Because I did.
For centre back.
Yeah, let's play it centre. But I didn't even think of him as an option. I totally forgot he was there.
Dan, we've just been talking about Tyler Denton as an option for fullback.
Yeah, if De Bock moves inside to left back,
We've
he
got
could.
Tyler Denton.
Although I would think that it will be Pearce, because why else is Pearce getting on bench ahead of Denton?
Donde.
That's why, because Tom Pearce is Spanish.
Denton doesn't know the language yet.
You know what? Genuinely, then he won't. But I would probably pick Roberts ahead of one of Alioski if I wanted to play him wide, or Lasogga if I wanted to play him up front.
Do we think it's the right game to throw him in?
I don't think it is the right game to throw him in, but I think if you're going to give him all kick back side and I would just make a few changes and go, right, go out there and fucking prove something.
Yeah, just run, go at him.
But we'll say. But genuinely, when I was doing that, when I was thinking of players, then I totally forgot he existed.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Well, I've just checked Twitter. There is nothing confirmed as of yet, but still, it looks like by the time this comes out, Heckingbottom's new manager. But yeah, that'll do us for episode 16 of the Mighty Whites podcast. I've been Jack.
I've been Connor.
I've been Casey.
At Mighty Whites Pod on Twitter. The Stuff Right goes up on for it all together, which is at THRU It All LUFC, which I very nearly managed to forget what it was then.
Well played though, good recovery.
Yeah. Good recovery. That's something you say at Ellen Road all the time when they give the ball away. Yeah. Shit pass. Oh, good recovery.
Scott Parker special.
So yeah, all Heckingbottom, aren't we?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for listening. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.